Good morning, everyone. It's Tess, and today is tip 180. I still cannot believe I'm doing this 180 days later. Today I was looking at some information on goal setting. I do believe goal setting is an important thing to do, but it also has to be done carefully. And the reason I think that is that your goals have to be achievable. So I know in the business world they refer to SMART goals. Specific, measurable, actionable, reasonable. And I think that really relates in our weight loss journey too, is that we really have to set realistic goals. And I found an article that kind of gave 7 tips on setting health lifestyle goals. And I'm going to kind of say that you want to look at this journey as creating better health for yourself, because it is more than just a number on the scale. And if you use the multiple tools or the multiple ways to make your life better, I think it will help propel you long term. And the first thing that came right out of this article is focusing on a number alone is really not the best approach, because it becomes overwhelming and you almost become obsessed with the scale. And I know that can be an issue for some people. I do weigh myself every day, but I weigh myself every day without emotions involved. It's just simply a tool to figure out where I'm at, because I found that sometimes when I haven't felt like I've done great, when you're doing great, but sometimes my head has not always supported me. So I just use it as a tool so that I don't get a couple days. In the past, I could get a couple of days out of control because I just wouldn't get on the scale, so I didn't monitor it. So what I do for myself is I get on it as a way to monitor it, but it's only a tool, because I do recognize there can be fluctuation, and I do fluctuate. I just am really careful so that when I go into the day of weigh-in, I'm down. Even if it's only a small amount, I'm down, so that when I go to my group, there's been a couple times I've been up, but I try really hard. It lets me kind of manage it. The 7 secrets that this article talked about are: number 1, don't think about your goal weight, especially if you have a lot of pounds to lose. What you want to think about is an incremental part of the weight loss journey, which is, are you trying to lose 5 pounds? Are you trying to get down into the next set of 10 numbers? Are you trying to get 5 pounds off? What is your goal? Look at a small goal for weight loss, because that will take you further, and it will help you to feel successful, not overwhelmed. It will help you to see achievement and not feel like it's so far off you can never reach it. If you're just looking at those small goals, the year will take care of itself, and you'll look back and go, oh wow, I lost 20 pounds, I lost 30 pounds, I lost 40 pounds in the past 6 months or a year. So if you focus on the small losses, the big loss will take care of itself. And in a year, you can look back and be proud of what you've accomplished. It just relaxes you, and it makes it achievable. The second that it talked about was setting more than one goal, and I think this is really important. It said look at it as a holistic approach. You're trying to make your life and your health better. So what you want to do is set goals up for, like, if you don't know how to cook, learn to cook healthier. If you have a recipe, an old family favorite, look for ways and research ways to make it a healthier food. If you aren't a good fruit and vegetable person, make yourself choose a new one to try, and then look up recipes so that you can find a new way to cook it. If you're not very active, look for a new way to be active. In the past month, I've been walking in the morning when I wake up as part of my early morning get stuff done. And I do like it, because I'm out by like 5:30 in the morning, and I've actually, yesterday I counted 13 bunnies. It was hysterical. And then there's a dog that's chasing the bunnies, and I see that same person every day. But the best mornings are the mornings when I see the sunrise and it's got beautiful colors. As well as, like we said, setting a lot of different goals that put you in the direction of long-term maintenance of weight loss and health. Besides the learning to cook, new recipes, foods, new veggies, new activities, try a new smoothie recipe. You can look those up on Pinterest. Doc V has a couple of books. There's a lot of information out there. Look at your ounces of water. Can you increase it? Can you set an alarm to get more food? Can you, I know John Clark has a mindful electronic eating device that can help you slow down your eating. Do you want to set habits that 1 meal a day you're timing so that you're not taking a bite before 1 minute passes? Use all of these as little goals that will get you to the long-term goal. And I think it's more fun when you're achieving little things, you feel successful. And then when you look back at the big thing, it feels really good. I'm happy and proud of myself that through COVID, I've been able to improve the kind of foods I'm eating and embark on stuff I never even thought that I would embark on. So if you look at it in smaller pieces, you can make it more fun. Number 3 is find your natural style. The neighbor may have done it through this program. Somebody else may have done it through this program. Find out what you're naturally comfortable with. How did you find success in your work life? How did you study if you were in school? What were the tools that you used to make you successful, and transfer them to this weight loss journey? I find for myself, I like getting a chunk of something done early in the morning, because then if the day gets away from me or I'm wiped out, and maybe that sounds funny, but I get a mental wipeout sometimes. So if I want to do something earlier in the mornings, better, because this is something I enjoy. It doesn't wipe me out mentally, and I'm fresher to do it. And I've always found that I learn better early in the morning. Hi, Dolly, good to see you. So if you find your natural style, it's just like even in tutoring, we had children that were visual learners, auditory learners. So you want a kinesthetic, which is, the touching. So if you can find what is your natural tool, remember how you learned in school or how you learn new tools, try to incorporate that into your weight loss journey. It will just help you, and then you don't have to learn something new, and it will feel more natural. It also talks about beware of the supermodel effect. I think that can impact a lot of people. You've even seen on TV and these extreme weight loss shows that people will actually get angry and upset and gain weight because they don't like loose skin, or they thought that if they lost a certain amount of weight, they'd look like a certain supermodel. They weren't realistic in what their expectations were. So be really careful that don't look on the internet, because in a lot of cases, people are making their pictures prettier. So what they're telling you and what is actually in effect may be different. So you want to be careful about what you allow to be your motivator. This one, number 5, I think is really, really important. Your goals have to be living. And by that, I mean they're changing constantly. As you improve, you're going to have to adjust your goals. If you're not losing quite as fast this month, it might be a goal of losing 2 pounds versus 5 pounds. If you're finding that activity is not as easy to do, you might have to slow it down. You have to be flexible so that your goals are always reachable, so that you have that momentum to keep moving forward. Because it's like we were talking about yesterday in Dr. V's Transform group. You've got to keep your energy high. You have to keep yourself in a place of being happy, joyful, excited, loving your journey, so that you can be carried forward with that momentum. If you set goals that are not realistic, it will drop you lower on that energy scale, and you'll be feeling despair and anger and disappointment. And that's the place where I always quit or give up, because it feels unachievable. And we have to make this achievable. Oh, good morning, good morning. We have to make it achievable, so we do it long term. Remembering goal 6 is, if you make those living goals, if you keep them in line and you keep adjusting them to where you're at any moment, you can increase them if you find that you truly are at a place where you can, but reduce them so that you can achieve them if you can. Because if you prepare great goals, it will prepare you for a lifetime of success. And that's what this is about. We're not losing for a class reunion. We're losing to have better health, because we wanted to change our lives, because we wanted to participate in all the adventures that are around us that everyone else has been enjoying, but we've been watching from the sidelines because we didn't have the energy, the strength, or the courage to give it a try. Number 7 was to take it slow. Be ready to recognize when you need to make a change, and be ready to recognize when maybe your journey's done. Sometimes I think we stop our journey too soon, but there are other people that I think somebody worded it. I think this was Jennifer Hudson, and in some of the materials I saw laying around, she said, she realized she was done at the point that she was just as scared to continue losing weight as she was to regain weight. So I guess be real careful while you set the goals. If you have your AP and your tribe and your doctor that's helping you, because even if you didn't have bariatric surgery, we all have a doctor that supports us, so you can even use them as a sounding board. So I'll kind of go through this list quickly just to revisit, but just remember, goal setting needs to be your friend. It doesn't need to be something that makes you fall off your journey. It needs to support you. So be careful not to only focus on a number. Some people cannot weigh themselves every day. I do, but I only do because long term in the past, if I went for a few days without weighing, I could get out of control and dismiss it because I didn't face a number. I'm completely unemotional about that number. I write it down just as a gauge because I go, oh, you know what, I'm up a 0.2, I didn't do this or I did that, I'm down 0.6, I'm up there. So does it go up and down? Yeah, but I work really hard and I've kind of gotten pretty good at knowing it lets me readjust faster because I always want to see a less number. I've had a couple times, during the time with Doc V that it wasn't a lesser number, but for the most part it always is. But it's because I stay really close to seeing it go down. But overall, I never focus on, unless I'm doing a live, I don't focus on my total pounds lost. I don't focus on how many more pounds to go. I only focus on that number becoming smaller, that I'm losing weight, because I do become overwhelmed if I make it too hard of a goal. So number 1, don't think about goal weight. Think about just making a small incremental change. This will relax it and make it more achievable and make it feel good to you. Number 2 is to set more than one goal, because we do know that the weight doesn't always move when we want it to. So add in additional goals so that you know you're working forward. Maybe a goal is that if you're not listening to Doc V every day, that you listen 3 days of the week. If you're not journaling, that you journal 2 days of the week. If you're not a cook, that you watch a YouTube video once a week. If you're not active, that you start walking 1-2 days a week, even if it's only 10 minutes. If you're not drinking water, add a certain number of ounces. But put a plan together that gives you lots of areas where you can start to move forward, because it will give you momentum and make you feel good about the journey. It helps you make a lifestyle change, something permanent. Number 3 is find your own natural style, which means, are you, how did you learn how to go through school? Are you auditory? Are you visual? Do you need vision boards? Do you need to journal? Do you need to listen to videos? I actually do all those things. So look for the tools that will help you. Look for your natural style of learning and incorporate it into your goals. Also remember that old saying, if you fail to plan, or you plan to fail. So that's why I kind of put goals into place, but I don't think you should be rigid about them. Let them be living goals that will change as you learn more about yourself, your body, and your journey, so that it can be long-term. They also talked about supermodel effect. Don't fall into believing that you're going to look like everything you see on the internet. A lot of that stuff is retouched. Don't fall into that trap. Be your best you, and what everybody else is doing is up to them, because we don't know what we're really looking at half the time. Is it an honest picture, or did somebody retouch it? And revise those goals continually. That's number 5. Be flexible, be changeable, be realistic. It's lifetime. You want it to change continually and grow with you. I think that's really important, as well as having multiple goals. Have multiple goals and change them as you continue to move forward, so that you stay engaged. Great goals, and this was just a listing, but great goals prepare you for a lifetime of success. Multiple goals, realistic, and changed as you change is perfect. And number 7, this was just something from Jennifer Hudson. When is it time to stop? It's time to stop when you're as scared to lose more weight as you are to regain weight. So I hope those tools are helpful to you. I think goal setting is really important, and it keeps me on task. but I have to be very careful about setting lots of goals so that I feel successful and I get that momentum and I feel good about the journey. And then I have to be realistic and use the tools that are available to me. I hope you guys find this helpful. Have a beautiful day. And remember, goal setting with multiple goals can take you long term if they're realistic and you keep yourself high on the emotional scale. It's a tool to move you forward. It's not your enemy. Have a beautiful day and thank you, everyone.